Okay, let's light this candle. Levels.
Levels.
So
Yep, it's me.
it is you. Sorry, my bad.
I had to switch the whole thing because I had to give you the line. So working backwards takes a lot to do all this unscripted stuff. Okay. So 75 episodes?
Yep.
Man, it seems like only like 25, 30 tops.
That's because you haven't had to edit 75 episodes plus all of the bonus stuff. I mean, we're so far past the 75 in name, but yeah, plus.
I mean, to be honest, while you've had to edit 75 episodes, how many of you actually edited?
You forget to edit a couple of parts here and there, and all of a sudden you just... Hi, toddlers. Welcome to Talking to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Friends. Here we are at episode 75, where failure is always an option. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
You froze. You still there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Nope.
I'm recording.
Nope.
Oh, what the...
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you. It's episode 75.
Oh, you...
Can you hear me? No. It's like I called you on the phone. Did I wake you up? No, that's right. I had to get up to answer the phone.
Given our technical troubles last week.
Fair.
How about these headphones? No. How about these headphones? No. How about these headphones? No. I'll go back to the first ones. Still no.
Still no. Oh, God. But here we are.
Yeah, episode 75. And nobody thought we'd make it this far. Mostly us. But that's...
Oh, thanks for joining us. Last week's cold open. Amy and I got in the car, turned it on. The music, we do the cold open, the music plays. Amy laughs hysterically, looks at me and says, "Did you write that?" And I'm like, "Well, I wrote everything except for the last 5 words that Todd jumped in and wrote at the last minute." Oh, so once again, you're doing 98% of the work. Yep, and Todd brings the funny.
I have to say that joke was written for one person, and she did laugh when we was in the car. These are handcrafted artisanal jokes designed with a single person in mind.
Very, very, very targeted marketing. You said we don't know anything about SEO.
Yes.
And Amy says, or branding.
Well,
she just drops that right in there. And I'm like, we never claim to know anything about branding. That's the point.
I was going to say, I mean, I said we don't know anything about SEO. Now, if Amy wants to start listing what we don't know about, she's going to need a lot longer than a car trip to Kansas City, Chicago, New York. Really, if you start going down that list, you're gonna need some time.
Do you want to alternate this week? What do you got?
Let's see. Okay, so for feedback from in the house,
in a house.
This one's always good. Get into the episode. and I hear, this is what I'm told. You sound drunk.
I can guarantee you that that's not the case.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's not happening. She's like, no, but seriously, like, you sound drunk and like a bit of an edge. And I'm like, oh no. I was in the middle of doing something that kind of had me riled up a little bit. And then it was time to record, so I stopped doing that. And I even told you. And well, it was a Venn diagram. Like two things overlapped, right? So first of all, I was already in a mood, right? So let's just focus that. And second, it was a Talking to Todd After Dark because we were recording later.
True.
And the whole time she's like, yeah, that's just, there's a lot of energy here. I'm like, isn't that good? Well, yeah, I don't know. Also at the end of it, I did hear, so I'm writing a cookbook, huh? Like, well, I mean, I got the first recipe for you. It's pretty easy.
And bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Oh, and this one's for you, however.
Okay.
You listed out some of the songs from Schmigadoon. Yeah. Right? You remember you threw those out?
I did. Did I?
Lisa took offense. She took offense that Corn Puddin' wasn't at the top of your list.
How could I? Yes. Oh,
how does he leave off Corn Puddin'?
Does this not? This belongs in. Actually, doesn't because because we left out the best. I left out the best song. So actually, yeah. Oh, she's right.
And when it comes to actually, when we got to that part, and I did my actually, she said you needed to push up your glasses right there, and I said wait for it. And then you said, I wish you could see this on video. Todd just pushed his glass. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it. So, yeah.
Wait for it.
Yeah. Hold on. Hold it. Wait. There you go. All right. Yeah, that was from there. What else do we have here?
Toddler -18. Your golf app and Todd's ski app sound very cool. I used to do a lot of skiing and would have been interested to try that app. It would be even better if the ski app would tell you where all your stuff landed after a spectacular wipeout. I had a few when I had to walk back up the slope to find both skis, poles, hat, goggles, gloves. And then she wrote, never found my pride.
I hear that. I've been there. It's always nice after you go, as they say, you go yard sale on the side of the mountain with stuff just scattered everywhere. And nice people who are following down pick up whatever is closest to them and bring them to you and drop it at you. Thank you. Thank you.
Go. Glove.
Thank you. Yeah.
Glove. Boot. Here's a related actually. If you heard 35 miles an hour while Todd was skiing and went, yeah, what? Well, that doesn't sound right. Source of all truth and knowledge. Recreational downhill skiers often average a speed somewhere between 20 and 40 miles an hour. As documented by National Public Radio around the time of the Turin Winter Games. And actually, sometimes Olympic winning speeds fall into this category. So, there you go.
I'm with you right up to that point. I mean, Olympic winning what? Yeah. Like, so we were listening to the episode. Lisa said, so what's your top speed, Ben? I'm like, well, it's not as high as Lindsay, but Lindsay just likes to go straight. Just like turn. Why? It'll slow me down. That's the point. Anyway. So I got the app out and finally all of my data did load after last week when it didn't load. And in the turns out I've recorded 250 runs on the app. And in those 250 runs, I believe my top speed was like 42 or 43 miles an hour.
Okay.
Is about what that's been the maximum. Which, you know, when you're on skis and that close to the ground, kind of feels like more.
Feels like 75.
Yeah, exactly. 74, 75, whatever it takes. Sorry, we just put
220,
two jokes. We just put two
221.
jokes right in there. Yeah, that's, you know, crossing the streams. That was a hat on a hat. But I was skiing with Lindsay one time, and she's like, "Hey, look," and I want to say she was doing like, she hit like 40, I had like 35, whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, you know what? I could do the Olympics." And I said, "Do you know what Olympic downhill is the fastest one, right? You got slalom, you got giant slalom, but downhill is just go downhill." I said, "Do you know what they hit downhill speeds in the Olympics to be competitive? Do you know what you'd have to hit?" She goes, "No, what?" And I said, 75 to 80 miles an hour. And she goes, "Oh, I'm not doing that." Oh,
That's
no.
crazy.
Yeah. What? Wait, what? Like, I'm doing 40, and that feels like I'm ready for the Olympics. You then have to double that, and you got a shot at maybe making the team. So,
So undervalued. Sorry, where were we? I don't
let's
know.
see. I do have some follow up. Listening to the previous episode, I was actually taking notes because I'm like, ooh, I should write some stuff down.
Okay.
Number one, I just want to do a cleanup in case anybody for the federal government happens to listen to this. Last week, you said that Lucas paid for Peacock, and that you should sign in as him so that you can watch the rest of Girls 5 Eva. That, of course, sharing passwords would violate the terms of service and maybe a copyright infringement. And talking to Todd would never encourage that. What you meant to say was that Lucas, who is paying for this on his account, you would ask him to bring up Girls 5 Eva, and then the two of you would watch it together. I'm sure that's what you meant, correct?
Oh, that absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
wouldn't be
Oh, thank you.
condoning sharing passwords.
No.
Yeah.
No. Piracy is wrong.
And I just want to make sure that we had that on record
And
and released.
I'm never going to let that happen.
Okay. All right. That's where we're going. All right. Note to Kevin, make sure all the pirate jokes are gone. Yeah. Just all of them. Just any reference. As a matter of fact, don't even refer to Pittsburgh sports in general. Okay. Just in case.
Talk Like a Pirate Week is coming up. It's not just a day anymore. We're going to talk like a pirate for an entire week.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
You know, it's a pirate's favorite socks.
Argyle.
Yes, they are. Do you know what a pirate charges to do a piercing?
No.
A buccaneer.
People are going to be longing for the days when we had the visual jokes. Okay. Bring back
none of this is staying. Got so much editing to do. Oh my god.
Let's see. Also, I talked about the hotel issue last week, and
yes,
and I did mention I was talking about how while you might find cheap hotel rates on the Strip in Las Vegas, they all come with amazingly expensive resort fees. What I will tell you is, one of the hotels that I went past when I was in Las Vegas, well, calling it a hotel, it's a motel. It's a Red Roof Inn. Okay.
Mo.
Yeah. The doors are on the outside, right? Where's your exit? It's just right there. So the Red Roof Inn near the Strip in Las Vegas has a big, they paid money to have a big banner in front of their place that says, "We don't charge resort fees." And I'm thinking, I kind of expected you not to. Welcome to the Red Roof Inn Resort. For your $39, we give you a deadbolt. And oh, and by the way, is the guy roaming the halls right outside the door? Is that security? Sure.
You mean Fred?
Yeah, he's security, right? Not for us. Anyway, let's see. Oh, and then one more bit of follow up, and then we can move on to the rest. I did mention what? Two more follow up? Okay. I did mention that a couple of weeks, the reason that we came back to Iowa for ToddCon, and there was a family wedding. At the family wedding, so after the ceremony, we go to the place for the reception, and that is all being led by the DJ. And what I will say is the bride and groom seemed to have a great time, love the music, whatever. We were sitting, it's not that big of a place. We were having a really hard time hearing him because he didn't have his big speakers turned up or whatever. And so he was like, so anyway, we want to do so you can do that. And we're like, well, I don't, whatever. And Lisa looks at me and says, clearly they didn't hire DJ to Go, Cedar Valley's 5-star DJ service.
That's fantastic. Did you listen to the beginning of this week's episode?
I have not yet. No.
Oh my God. Do you remember the Friends episode where they don't know we know they know we know?
Yes.
Okay, so each of us is starting to catch. They realized that we're catching on to their gig, that they're just calling in and leaving ideas so that they can plug the DJ service. But it seems to be working out because Dan's already booked for a gig for a year from now. So,
well, look at that. You know what? Somebody should start selling some hats on. It's working.
Speaking of our idiot toddlers.
Fellas, it's your idiot toddlers. Quick question. When you were touring the west side of Iowa Falls, Todd, which did you go see first? The statue of Dan Hensing or the future site of the DJ to Go Cedar Valley statue? Brought to you by DJ to Go Cedar Valley, your 5-star DJ service.
That was 2 plugs in one?
Yeah.
Did you see either of those 2 things?
To be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember seeing the statue of Dan Hensing.
Of the 6'6" sophomore sensation?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So yeah. I probably should have yeah, we were too busy looking for a bridge that moves. So but you know what? Now I have reason to go back. Apparently I've missed something.
Let's see. What else do we have?
Are we taking a quiz this week?
Well, it is the Olympics, and our friends over at HowSmart.net have a special Tokyo Olympics quiz.
Here's the thing. I haven't watched much Olympics, but what I'll tell you is if this quiz is anything about Olympic competition or who's in it or sports, I will have no idea. However, if it's about who has bought a crap ton of ad time on NBC, I'm all in. Because apparently that's all they show now. But let's give it a shot. Toyota. No, sorry. Never mind. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, 16 multiple choice questions. Who is the fastest man in the world's history? I'm assuming they mean running. We are finished, and the score is dun, 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 Processing, processing, processing. Wow. We get 56% of them right out of 16. So we get 9. We got 9 right out of 16. For two guys that haven't exactly watched the Olympics, I don't feel too bad about that. Are you disappointed in yourself?
No, I'm I'm literally sitting here like every time we do this, it gets less entertaining. How does that happen? like we know what's coming, and yet knowing it doesn't help. Like I'm trying to figure out a way. It's like there should be something here that we could do, and they're
right?
like every time we walk into this door, it just smashes us in the face, and we're like, there's nothing here.
It's current. It's sports. I thought if any quiz ought to work, it ought to be this one. Okay, moving on.
Apparently, my brain doesn't fire on like whatever it fires on. It's not this. Although partly it is because there's part of me going, but I want to get the question right. Yeah, no. Just come up with something funny. Yeah, but I want to get it right. Yeah, but that's not the point. But I want to get it right.
Okay, so here's one for you.
Yeah.
When we were talking pre-show about, I don't know, business opportunities. I don't remember. Anyway, I was trying to come up with the name of the social media site that was launched by the last guy, right?
Okay.
It's not Parler, but I didn't want to Google it. And I didn't want to Google what's so-and-so's social media because I didn't want any of, right?
Damn it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't want that in my search history. So what I did search for was new social media apps. And it came up with 103 social media sites that you need to know in 2021. 103 of them. And I'm looking at this list, and number one is a site called Triller.
It's the Triller.
He's doing zombie moves on a audio.
It's not the
podcast.
zombie moves. It's the dance from Thriller.
They're zombie moves.
Well, yeah.
Are they not zombies? Are they zombies?
Yeah, that may be like doing the moonwalk though, and it's like, oh, he's doing a thing. He's doing a backwards dance. Anyway, all right.
Which I have not. I don't know the foggiest idea what Triller is. Number 2 is Periscope that I've heard of. Number 3 is Vimeo that I've heard of. Valence? No. Nope. Stumped you too.
Nope. Yep.
Number 5 is Untapped. Do you know what Untapped is?
Oh yeah. I do because I listen to tech podcasts, and that is where you get to record the beers that you have and rate them. It's kind of like it's kind of like Yelp for beer.
It's fantastic. Number 6 is Elpha, ELPHA. I got nothing.
Is that just the community? Is that just for the community of people that use the Container Store closet storage system? Yeah, never mind. Yeah, what do I know? Nope.
How about number 7, Yubo, YUBO? You got that one? Nope.
Yubo, Weebo, Yubo, Hebo, Weebo.
It's for people who like 1980s Yugoslavian cars. No, wait, that's Yugo.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a different app. It's just for that very small. How about number 8, Peanut?
Wait. How was that one spelled?
YUB as in boy. Oh, Yubo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was just for fans of Bo Jackson. Yo, Bo, but it's Yo, Bo. Yeah. Sorry, never mind.
Are you familiar with Bo Burnham? Here's a rabbit hole.
No.
Have you heard of Bo Burnham?
No.
Okay. Think Weird Al Yankovic, except, I don't know, or Steve Martin, or I don't know. Anyway, he's a comedian, but he writes songs that are parodies of different song genres. So he's got a country music song called Pandarin.
Okay.
He's got a couple of rap songs that are really funny. No question that a lot of this is pretty raunchy, but so funny. Bo Burnham, Google Bo Burnham. I'll post a. There's one about what God's thinking right now. That's absolutely hilarious. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So number 8, Peanut. No. Come on, we're supposed to be social media's experts.
The problem is, by the time that it makes a list like this, I've already moved on to the next. To the ones that I'm on right now are ones that you will hear about in a couple of years, being at the cutting edge of social media. So it's hard to remember what that was. Now, you might say this one was founded 4 months ago, and I would say, well, yes, but then after the first month, then everybody who's anybody has already moved off, and then let the crowds come in. Yeah, I have no idea. By the way, is Peanut spelled actually, like, do they have all the vowels, or did they cut some vowels out of that?
They do. No, they did not cut it. Peanut, Peanut.
That's why they're only that's why they're so low on the list. Yeah.
If it was PNT, Peanut, that's number one. I'm telling you.
Well, with a line over the P.
Number 9 is House Party. I have heard of that. It was a games social media app kind of thing that was pretty popular at the beginning of the pandemic. And number 10 is Caffeine. I'm familiar with Caffeine. I don't know anything about the app.
Yeah, it turns out I'm probably not your go-to social media reporter for most of these.
This list goes on, and I'm looking at this list. I'm like, nope. Fark. That's the name of an app. I'm not just. Then you get down number 27, Facebook. Number 28, Instagram. Number 29, Twitter. Social media sites to watch. But you probably ought to be. You should become. You should become familiar with these sites because they're apparently going to be a big thing. Facebook, number 27.
So, by the way, I looked up Caffeine, and with a small tweak. So, with a small tweak of their tagline, it could actually become like a Netflix show. Their tagline is live streams you'll want to watch, a chat you'll never want to leave. If you just change it a little bit to live streams you'll want to watch, a chat you'll never be able to leave. Now you got yourself a show, right? Once you join, it's live streaming and it's a chat, and then you're like, not for me. But it doesn't matter. You're in. You're in now. I don't know. That could probably be a
speed for social media. You can't stop chatting. If you stop chatting, your phone blows up.
If you drop below 50 emojis per minute, the phone gets it. Flame. Scared face.
Ah.
So, give you a nice edit point.
Thank you.
When
Jesus,
I'm not even sure if this is an edit out of an edit out of an edit. I don't know how far down we are. No, this one's going even deeper. This isn't even a way of getting out of it. The one that when you told me what that was, I was like, oh, I know what the name of the one that you were looking for is. And the reason I know that the one that you're referring to is, did you see the story in Politico about that social media site? The one of which shall not be named?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So that one launched on July 1st. If you go there now, do you know who has found it and is using it to post messages and videos and all sorts of stuff?
Wait. Maybe I did see this. Is it ISIS?
Yeah. The Islamic State is now filling up that social media network.
And why is this?
including graphic videos of beheading, viral memes that promote violence against the West, and even memes of a militant executing Trump. So, and that's all being hosted on that social media site.
Because there's no content filter or moderation. So they can do anything they want to. So these patriots, and now I'm using air quotes, have provided a haven. Is that accurate to say?
One would even call maybe a safe haven.
It's entirely possible.
In response to questions about jihadi material being shared on Getter, Miller, the CEO, told Political that ISIS was attacking the Magnum movement because Trump had destroyed the group militarily. All right. Where
did they watch? I have to assume that the people that named this app is just really big Ghostbusters fans and Dan Aykroyd fans, right? Because that's what his plan was in Ghostbusters at the beginning, right? I've got a plan. Just stay with me. Get her! That was your plan? Get her?
I'm just guessing that Grabber was already taken, so they got that domain was already gone.
Oh Lord!
Are we just still doing a podcast, or do we wrap this up? All right, where are we at?
God, I don't know. Where are we at? Where are my homies at?
We're still in the quiz. That'll never air.
No, not anymore. We're not.
Okay.
Hey, great quiz.
I see. There you go. Yeah.
Wow, that was awful.
That was not a gold medal performance.
Don't let me do that again. We say this every time that we're going to try this, and then don't let me do that again.
I mean, the good news is there's a clear trend on these quizzes. They're getting worse and worse and worse. All right, so do we have nominations for Idiot of the Week?
Did you know that the Cleveland baseball team doesn't know how to use Google?
I believe I've heard the story that you're referring to.
Because if they had just simply typed clevelandguardians.com into any web browser, they didn't even have to Google it. All they had to do was type it into a web browser. And do you know what they would have found?
Is it like a roller derby team or something?
It's a male roller derby team. And they've had the name Cleveland Guardians since 2011.
Yeah, I know that Cleveland, I know that they're getting a lot of guff for that. And you would think that they would have cleared the name and everything else. However, as the story goes, when as the iPhone and everything was being developed, Apple had to create a new operating system for it. And Steve Jobs goes on stage and says, and we're naming it iOS. Right? This was after, I think it was iPhone OS, and then he announced, we're changing the name to iOS. And then everybody was like, well, wait a minute though. Cisco, which is a massive company that does enterprise networking, that's what they call the operating system on their routers and switches. I can't believe Apple didn't check that. And as the story goes, basically, it was, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to announce this, and then some money is going to solve this problem. And by announcing it, if somebody doesn't accept a check, we're not the bad guys here. So my assumption is that the Cleveland baseball team has more money in their account to solve problems than the men's roller derby team in Cleveland has. What I do think is they're going to be getting some new uniforms, some new skates, and a new track. They're going to look sharp, I think, is what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I somebody who needs the money is going to get the money. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be the case, because the Cleveland Guardians, not only do they have clevelandguardians.com, They also own the social media account on Facebook and on Instagram, but not on Twitter because Twitter's a dumpster fire. So
I'm just thinking if I'm the current Guardians, I'm going to be negotiating. I'm going to play hardball here. But one of the things I'm going to ask for is, hey, when you got one of those double headers next year, like every year when you have a double header, we're going to want a track set up in the infield. And it's Cleveland Guardians night at the Cleveland Guardians. And we get to skate
during intermission.
Yeah, between the doubleheader. Yeah, you know what? To be completely honest, some of the ridiculousness they could come out and do a full whatever it is meet thing. I don't know. They could do that. You know what? Here we go. We're going to solve some baseball problems. Baseball is slowing down. It is way too long. Pitching changes take way too long. Right? And everybody's like, oh, not another pitching change. This is going to kill a couple of minutes. So you know what? Every pitching change, send out the Guardians. And then they just, while the pitcher jogs out from the bullpen and takes his 1,700 pitches, you get roller derby action to keep you interested. Seriously, somebody thinks that we don't know how to do marketing or branding. We got this. We got this in the bag.
1,000 ideas. You just got to find the right one.
I'm gonna call. I gotta call Cleveland. I'm just not sure which team to pitch that idea to.
So that wasn't the only thing. That story for me came from, I mean, it was a lot of places, but it was on Deadspin. That wasn't the only story that I saw on Deadspin this week, because we do Idiot of the Week. Yep. Deadspin did Idiot of the Month. Top 5 idiots of the month of July. The first one was the Montreal Canadiens, because they drafted a guy who was convicted in 2020 for sharing an intimate photo of a woman amongst his teammates without her permission. Apparently, they're okay with that. So Canadians got nominated. Jason Whitlock, he's apparently on their list every month. Deion Sanders. Did you see Deion Sanders made the list this month?
I did in the worst possible way, right? He stormed out of if I get this right, he was having a press conference.
Yep.
And he demanded that people refer to him as coach, and they kept referring to him as Deion, which is his name. And after the second time the person did it, he threw a hissy fit and said, nobody calls
Alabama head coach Nick Saban.
Nobody calls him Nick. They all call him coach. And I want respect. And he left.
Dude, everybody calls him Nick.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they went back and Nick's like, call me Nick. That's fine. It's my name. I'm thinking, given that Deion made this list last year for the fact that his stuff got stolen and maybe didn't, or did, or maybe didn't. I'm just thinking, you know what? When you hire primetime, you're getting excitement. Now, the school is probably hoping for excitement on the field, but you need to read the fine print. Or,
as established last week, even the print.
Just the print. Yeah.
Just read it. TJ Ward.
Not a good look for TJ Ward.
No. Blamed Ron Rivera for getting cancer. Oh, Stephen A. Smith, right up there with Jason Whitlock for saying stupid things like speak English. Seriously, man. And, the United States Olympic Committee for... I didn't read this part of the article. The article starts out, let's be blunt. Let's be blunt. Sha'Carri Richardson might have smoked some weed, but it's the United States Olympic Committee that's the dope in this story. I don't write them, I just read them. So those are the nominations from Deadspin. What else do you got?
So this doesn't fall. I'm not going to call the player in this situation. The player in this situation is not the idiot. This is where we've gotten to in sports. The Utah Jazz sent their backup center Derek Favors, and a number one draft pick, first round, sorry, not number one, a first round draft pick, and their backup center, Derek Favors, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do you know what they got in return for sending, again, a first round draft pick and a player who will probably start, who could, I mean, if they decide to keep him, he could start for them. He's good enough to start. Do you know what they got in return for that?
I don't. I have not followed this story. What did they get?
A 2027 second round draft pick.
It sounds to me like they didn't do him any favors.
Oh. Well, it was kind of right there. I kind of set that up for you.
It was. It's really easy. Too easy. Sorry.
I'm just
2027. That's Czech's watch. What?
And a second round pick. So
Not just. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a player and a first round pick, and all I want in return, way down the road, is a second round pick. And the sad thing is, and this is the part there, this is probably where NBA economics is the idiot, is everybody in the NBA goes, oh yeah, that makes total sense. You turned in a first round pick and you will eventually get a second round pick, and you threw a player in. Oh yeah, that was a pretty good strategic move on your part. I'm starting to not understand sports.
None of this makes any sense.
Oh, and it's, by the way, it's not it's because the Oklahoma City Thunder they've just been accumulating draft picks. I don't even know if they have a team anymore. All they are is they're just draft picks. Not only did they get OKC's 2027 second round pick, the Thunder have 4 second round picks in 2027, and this is the least favorable of the 4.
2027 round 2, all Thunder all the time. Oh, look, it's another pick from the Thunder.
I do feel bad for this player, because at some point you're like, couldn't you at least gotten a ham sandwich? Like, this is bad.
So as usual, they're all winners.
They are. We're not, but yes, they're all winners.
I don't know how much further to go, because I'm not sure how much of anything we're going to keep. So the clock now makes no sense, and I don't know how much time we are.
I literally just looked at that and went, that helps me not at all. I don't.
Nope.
We're way deep into this, and
I don't know. Half of it's gone. Maybe we're 30 minutes in. I don't know. Let us know when you're listening to this and you get to this point in the show. Send us a message at feedback at talkingtotodd.com and let us know where we actually are, because we have no clue, or when we are, or I don't know.
All right, I did have one topic for today, and then I think we can move on to what we're watching. But
okay.
And this could have, quite frankly, been in follow-up, but I thought follow-up was going long, and apparently I had no idea. Anyway,
we set a record for short follow-up last week, so we're just balancing it out. On average, plus minus, we're fine.
Yeah.
So,
last week we continued. I think this is now the 3rd or 4th week that we were talking about our NFL Waters Park idea.
Yes.
And so I was listening back through as we were discussing it 2 episodes ago, because I was listening to some of that. Anyway, I came up with yet another ride. I'm going to describe this ride, and then I'm going to see if you can get the name for me. Okay?
Okay.
So here's what it is. You as the ride attendee, you have to walk up multiple flights, and it's a really long line. So you basically have to get in line and slowly walk your way up, and then you have to get in line. And I'm going to guess that it's probably going to take you, I don't know, it could be 30 to 45 minutes of you standing in line. And then when you get to the front of this water slide, you're tapped on the shoulder, you move to the side, and somebody else jumps in front of you and gets to take the slide all the way down. And then you're done. That's it. You just use your ride. That's it. And then that's the end of your ride. What would you consider that to be? Because remember, this is part of the NFL experience.
I feel like I should know this.
just to put this in context, basically you're holding a place in line, but you don't actually get to go down the slide.
Is this the Andy Dalton?
Very close. It's a little bit broader than that. It's the backup quarterback experience. You get to do 100% of the work. But right before you get to the fun part, step aside. Boy, the NFL experience isn't as fun as you would think. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Welcome to being a backup quarterback. The thing that I was going to include and that I took out because it was going to be too easy for you is while you stand in line for 45 minutes, you have to hold a clipboard.
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering. I thought maybe the backup experience was, you get there and you have to stand on. You don't ever get to get in the water. You just stand on the side.
You just follow somebody. You follow somebody who is in the water the entire time they're there. Looks fun.
Boy, that was
extremely fun.
And then at the end of the shift, you go cash your paycheck and you're fine. You're just fine, huh? Do you need to go get in the hot tub? Do you need to go get some treatment? No, nobody ever touched me the entire day.
I'm totally dry. Just hop in the car, head home.
Go spend the evening with my beautiful wife. And, I'm good. Cash my check. Move on to the next thing.
All right. We should probably move on to what we're watching. Oh, yes. So a couple things that we're watching this week. Number one, that spell check fixed that. That is actually how you spell it. Lockdown.
Oh, because you wrote lockdown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sounds like a prison movie.
I wrote lockdown and it corrected it to lockdown. But lockdown.
That's LOCH. Is this have something to do with the British Isles?
It does. And it ties into Clarkson's farm. So while Jeremy Clarkson was shooting that, he was also shooting the next episode of the Grand Tour for Amazon Video. So they were planning on going to Russia, and a couple of days before that started, everything went into lockdown, and so they were trying to figure out how to shoot a show, and they weren't allowed to leave the country, but they were all in England and thought, you know what we could do? We could go to Scotland. And you know what Scotland has? Lots of locks. So it became...
So they're in lockdown.
Lockdown, yes. So it's the next Grand Tour. It just came out a couple of weeks ago on Amazon Video. I have to say, this one is a little bit more mild because they didn't have the ability to use as much pyro and everything else as they normally did. So it's a little understated, but I will also say that some of the things that were becoming, they did a very good job of taking out most of the 13-year-old boy jokes out of the show. They left a couple in, but they got a lot of humor that is only funny if you're like 13-year-old boy. And they took out a lot of that. And this is a pretty decent one. So anyway, if you want to follow the Grand Tour, that next episode's out.
So just to be clear,
these are jokes that would be funny to a 13-year-old boy, not jokes involving 13-year-old boys. Yeah.
Because you talk about how problematic the show is. And I'm like, wow, no jokes about 13-year-old boys. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, no. Jokes that 13-year-old boys would make that would be funny. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Well, then I'm glad I cleaned that up. Whew. Boy, that was close.
Yeah. That's... let's see. The other one is
it is a surprise, or it's about a surprise?
I just put in surprise because I didn't want to ruin it for you. We've talked about volume 1 of this show a few months ago. Volume 2 of The Movies That Made Us is now available. Is now available on Netflix. And so we've watched the first 2 episodes around Back to the Future and Pretty Woman, and enjoyed both of those. So if you enjoyed volume 1, volume 2 is now out.
Because episode 3 is Jurassic Park, and
yes,
it's amazing.
Okay.
And episode 4 is Forrest Gump, and I haven't gotten there yet. But the first thing that's on my list is movies, and I just wrote movies.
See,
Because
look, we're trying
I
like
knew-
movies. Surprise, movies. Like, okay.
I'm like, it's movies that made us. And it's really good.
I do have to say, for the first one, I had to get back into their style of editing, which
Uh-huh.
even if you think you have a short attention span,
Oh,
their style of editing makes the Red Zone channel look like a David Attenborough documentary. Holy cow, there's a lot of jump cuts and interruptions and callbacks and anyway, but it's good. So, yeah, there we go.
so when you're watching the Jurassic Park one,
Yeah.
at about the 30-minute mark, they talk about the hurricane that hit the island as they were starting to wrap up. And there's a picture, there's video footage of the hurricane. And if my father listened to this podcast, he would find this really interesting because there's pictures of the hurricane, video of the hurricane coming onto the island of Kauai where they were. Now, they never said Kauai, but as we're watching it, I looked at that and went, huh, well, that kind of looks like the green and the little lighthouse on that golf course that Dad and I played. And so then I backed it up and I paused it. And then I went to my phone and I went flip, 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 flip. Hey, look, Amy, it's the same spot. So the filming was on Kauai. It was there and where they were staying was the Marriott Resort there on Kauai because that was the golf course that my father and I played.
So next week, I think there's some other stuff that we've watched, but I'm trying to make sure that we sort of spread some of this out because got to have content. Next week, I should probably talk about something else that we've watched, but I have to bring Lisa on for that because it is she has a direct link to this thing, but the thing that you just described about I wonder where this was filmed, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole on this and went way past that's impressive to you probably need help. So we'll talk about that all together. So yeah. Anyway, that's a teaser for an upcoming episode. All right. So what else are you watching?
Well, if this segment was titled "Things You've Watched 90% of but haven't quite finished yet," that would be Jungle Cruise. Amy ponied up for the Disney Plus experience so that we could watch Jungle Cruise. She watched it and thought that the dad jokes were absolutely hilarious and that it was Dwayne Johnson. Though the problem that she had actually was that when that Dwayne Johnson starts sounding more like this Dwayne Johnson, then we have a problem.
It's like in Ghostbusters. Seriously, I cannot explain to you how important it is that you do not cross the streams. There's this Dwayne Johnson and that Dwayne Johnson. And if the two of them come together, there is going to be a rift in the space-time continuum, the likes of which we will not be able to repair ever again.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass pandemonium. So I haven't quite finished it yet, but here's the other thing about it. I'm like, oh yeah, don't you remember the Jungle Cruise? The skippers, the entire time, all they do is tell dad jokes. The entire time. I was fired from the orange juice factory.
Because I couldn't concentrate?
Because I couldn't concentrate, that's right. I was dating this woman who was cross-eyed. I thought maybe she was seeing another guy on the side. They're awesome. But I'm like, oh, those are jokes from the ride. Amy's like, there are jokes on the ride? Boy, it's been a long time since you've been on Jungle Cruise, hasn't it? Yeah, so Amy's ready to go back to Disney, apparently.
Okay, so I was going to save for another episode, but I might as well throw it out now. On Disney Plus, they have there is a series that they released called Behind the Attraction, which yes, go ahead.
And the first episode is Jungle Cruise. We watched that too.
The first episode is Jungle Cruise, where they explain all of the dad jokes. Well, not all of them. As a matter of fact, they explain the most famous one, and the person says there's actually people going, I don't even understand why that's funny. And Lisa looks to me and goes, I don't understand why that's funny. And I'm like, because it's not. And she goes, well, what makes that funny? I'm like, that's what makes it funny. That it's not funny? Yeah.
Yep.
She goes, but it's stupid. Like, it doesn't even make a sense. And I'm like, that's the joke.
That's the joke.
That also explains a lot of this podcast. Okay. But it's not funny. I know that's what makes it funny. Does it? But does it really? Does it really? It doesn't mean make any sense. I know, but that's the funny part. No, it works. It works on the Jungle Cruise. Doesn't work here.
And lastly, I promise this is the last one. If this segment were titled Stuff Amy is Watching That I Happen to Be Sitting in the Room For, then the answer would be Tattoo Redo. Have you seen this?
Is it a reboot of Fantasy Island?
No, but they're actually doing that.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not. They are actually rebooting Fantasy Island, but they are not calling it Tattoo Redo. But that's a great idea. No, this is you know how in Trading Spaces people switch houses and redo each other's house?
Yes.
This is people who have had tattoos that are regrettable. Let's call it that.
Or regrettable.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
No regrets.
Not even one? Not even a single letter? Oh, my God. So people with regrettable tattoos come in and they get like makeovers for their tattoos, cover art, right? But here's the thing. The friend that they bring in with them for support gets to pick what goes on over the top, and they have no say about it. And so, surprise! So yeah, Amy watched episode 1 of that while I was playing golf on my phone and in the same room. So that's, or maybe the segment title is "What's On in Our House." I don't know. Anyway, did you? On that note, I'm sure I'm going to get feedback on that segment. Let's just move along.
Oh,
here.
that's cute. That's cute. You think she's going to make it this far?
Did you learn anything this week?
Well, so this is one more from the wedding. And what I learned is we need to be very, very careful about, even if it's good information that we share on here, because we are, as we know, that we are an educational podcast. And we have information, and you have to be very, very responsible about the disclosure of the information. So let me set this up for you. The night before the wedding was the rehearsal dinner, and we were in the location, and my sister, who is the mother of the bride, is trying to get everything ready and is working on making sure that everything's ready for the meal and everything the following day. And it's like she's, it's like she's trying to land planes at O'Hare, because she's got people doing all sorts of stuff. She's like, nope, this one, and put this here, and then we're going to need that, and all of this. And then she's explaining to us and like about everything that she's doing. And then she happens to tell me and Lisa, oh, yep. And I've had the Sun Tea out brewing all day. So this is the jar that all the Sun Tea is going to go in.
Oh, no.
And it's a big jar. I mean, it's like a 5-gallon barrel, which is going to go right next to the 5-gallon barrel of lemonade. My sister, again, who's trying to organize and run an entire wedding, says that, and Lisa and I both kind of raise our eyebrows slightly and look at each other like, do you want to tell her? I'm not going to tell her. What are you, nuts? No, I shouldn't tell her. My sister, however, picks up and then goes, what? I'm like, nothing. No. She's like, no, it's not nothing. What?
That's, I have to tell you, I'm not sure when the last time was that I talked to Brenda, but that sounds exactly like Brenda's reaction. What?
Yep.
What?
And so I said,
well,
first, you obviously don't listen to Talking to Todd. we'll talk about that later.
But if you had,
But if you had, we talked about this, and it's apparently, it might be the worst possible way to make tea. And she's like, but we've done it our entire lives. I'm like, I know, but it's actually the right temperature. Like, you either need to do it, like, it either needs to be boiled or cold, but that's like the temperature to grow stuff in it. And she's like, but I have like 17 jars of this. And I'm like,
no.
and she's like, but I have cold brewed bags that I'm going to put in tonight. But this is, I've already made all this. And we're like, listen, it's fine. It's fine. We grew up on it. Everybody in Iowa has done this. Here's the thing. And I'm walking this back because I've now become that guy, like, oh, this is bad. I should not have done this. Right. So I'm like, what you want to make sure is just like, if it's stringy, like, don't serve that, but it's probably fine. And Lisa's like, it's totally fine. Like, it's not a problem. And then as Lisa and I were driving back to the hotel, we were like, oh, that was bad. I'm like, yeah, that was bad. Like, oh man, I feel terrible. And then Lisa says, we're not drinking the iced tea, are we? I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, hell no.
No, I'm not drinking that.
I'm so glad she told us. But no, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And?
So then the wedding's on Saturday, and we get to the reception afterwards, and now everything's starting to happen. And Brenda comes up to us and says, I went home last night and dumped out all the tea. She says, once you told me that, there's no way I could serve that to people. So I just cold brewed a whole lot more, and it'll be fine, but I had to dump it all out. It's like, I did not mean to make more work for her.
I'm sorry, but thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Which of course then was like, and then she's like, I gotta go do stuff, and then Lisa's back to, so we can have the iced tea then. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm gonna make myself an Arnold Palmer, right? Like before, it was just gonna be lemonade, but now I can have both. So anyway, sorry about that, Brenda. Anyway, you got everybody. You got to be responsible with this information.
And to the rest of the wedding guests, you're welcome. Because we're professionals.
And seriously, you got to listen to Talking to Todd.
Seriously.
How about you? What'd you learn this week?
So we have, over the history of this podcast, talked, maybe, I don't know that I would say extensively, but regularly about the United States Postal Service.
It's come up on a few times. Yeah.
Right. I have a friend who, her hometown is Frankfort, Kentucky, and she did some shopping while she was at home and sent me a package from Frankfort. Sends me a text. Hey, I sent you a package. It's on its way. Great. Should be there on Thursday. Actually, had to send 2 packages because couldn't really just send the one. So I sent you 2 packages, 2 identical packages, shipped them off, should be there Thursday. And I'm like, okay, super. That's really nice. It was really nice of her. Should be there Thursday. The first one shows up on Wednesday. I'm like, okay. Postal Service doing its job. So the first thing I learned was the Postal Service can beat their own deadline. But then when Thursday, and I don't know that anything in this box is perishable, but it's not something that you want sitting out in the 98-degree heat of last week, right?
Yep.
So when I had opened the first box and I knew what was in there, I was, okay, so I know the second box is identical. I don't want the post office just dropping it off in the box on the street and have it cook in that metal box, right, all afternoon in the sun. So as soon as I knew that the post that they had dropped off, I went out, checked the box, nothing there. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. So I send her a text. Hey, box number 1 showed up. Thank you very much. It's really awesome. The mail is here on box number 2, but the box did not arrive. You might want to track it just to see what's going on. So then she sends me the tracking number. The second thing that I learned is that in some of these cases, I was better off when you just dropped it off at the post office or dropped it into the post box and just didn't know.
Magic happened,
Right?
and it eventually got to where it's supposed to
And
go.
3 days or 4 days later, you just assume that it's going to do its job, right? She sent me the tracking number. She's like, I called them. They said it ought to be there tomorrow. But here's the tracking number. So I pulled up the tracking number. Yep, sure enough. And then I clicked into tracking history. July 26th, Frankfort, Kentucky. July 26th, departs post office, Frankfort, Kentucky. July 26th, Lexington, Kentucky. July 26th, departs Lexington, Kentucky. July 26th, Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. Making good time on the 26th. Frankfort to Lexington to Louisville on July 26th. Then July 27th, arrives at regional facility in Des Moines. Followed by July 28th, arrives at regional facility in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Wait, what? It was 15 minutes from my house at 6:06 p.m. on July 27th. And at 2:16 a.m. on the 28th, it's in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
I can explain this. I got it. Somebody in the Des Moines post office looked and went, Norwalk? Norwalk? The only Norwalk I know is in Connecticut. Put it on the plane, Joe. By the way, he's referred to as the new guy around there.
Clearly. Later that day on the 28th at 3:50 p.m., it checked into the regional facility in Philadelphia. And then on July 29th, the entry is in transit to next facility. And I'm like, oh, crap. This is about the point where I picked it up and went, okay. But then to their credit, July 30th, 6:30 a.m., arrived at USPS regional facility in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm like, there is no way it's making it back. Because they told her, it'll be there tomorrow. This was the 29th. They told her, he'll have it tomorrow on the 30th. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this happens. And yet, 6:38, Regional Distribution Center, 6:06 a.m., arrived at the post office in Norwalk, Iowa, and is out for delivery and was delivered to me by 10 a.m. on the 31st. Had I just been patient, and lived before the internet, I wouldn't have worried about it so much. The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. It's available at Incompetech.com under a Creative Commons Attribution license. It helps when you play the short version of Happy Boy for the middle one rather than the long one. Because I'm like, well, this is going on a really long time. Better start it over. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can subscribe to Talking to Todd on Overcast or Apple Podcast or Spotify. Podbean. Wherever you get your pods, search Talkin' and the number 2. There's no G, there's no space. That's the numeral 2. Talkin' and the number 2. No G, no space. We have a page on Facebook. When you get to an hour and 38 minutes, sometimes you make mistakes.
Well, if you got to an hour and 38 minutes, you have made mistakes.
We have a page on Facebook, so tweet us on Facebook. You can check out our award-winning merch on Zazzle. You can leave us a voicemail and plug your business, apparently, at 515, also CPA. That's 515-257-6272. You can stop by and visit us at the Tuba City home office. Please don't do that. And the website is talkingtotodd.com. Thanks, as always, to our listeners. Send us your feedback. Feedback at talkingtotodd.com. Todd?
Quick business idea. We start our own social networking. It's called TRKR. And all it is it is a social media site for people who are tracking packages and are losing their damn minds. Why did this go to Pittsburgh? I don't even understand. And then hashtag why Pittsburgh? Yeah, I know that same thing happened to me. I have an uncle who had a thing, and that's all it is. It's all in on tracking packages.
TRKR.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Is it going to be a top 10 rated social media site? No. Will it be a top 103? I can't see how it can't be.
If you have social media ideas about that or anything else, send us your feedback and we'll talk about it next week right here on Talking to Todd.
That was the hardest one of the show endings I've ever had to do, because I literally have no idea what to reference, because I have no idea what's going to stay in the show.
Well, apparently the list of social media sites is now staying in.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for that.
I made an editing decision for you.